Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel. And in our top stories today from NPR, National Public Radio, or as I like to call them, non-pro-Republican. Now, this is really more of a headline grabber because as of this recording, as you see there on the article, it is Tuesday, February the 6th, and tonight will be the caucus in Nevada where Donald Trump will dominate, which also coincides with the fact that they had to drag Joe Biden out today to give a bit of a speech on the border because, of course, the Homeland Security Director, Alejandro Mayorkas, is currently being impeached. So they have to give their ilk something to hang on to, have hope about, and this, of course, is always going to be about attacking Donald Trump. So we're going to get into this a little bit more specifically now. So federal appeals court rules Trump doesn't have broad immunity from prosecution. Now, it's really kind of a misnomer statement because, of course, as the Democrats like to say, no one's above the law. Well, of course, a person, if they commit certain crimes, of course, are obviously going to be prosecuted. There's processes, for example, as to how you would go after a president versus a regular citizen. But, of course, they go on to include the fact that right now, of course, Donald Trump is a private citizen. We'll get into more of the specifics here in a minute. A three-judge panel of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit has ruled that Donald Trump does not enjoy broad immunity from federal prosecution, a major legal setback for the former president who said he will appeal. So even in the first paragraph, you can see that the impact of this is more about the headline grabber than the actual meat and potatoes of the fact that this is something that Donald Trump can appeal, right? So the circuit court can make a ruling and then Donald Trump can appeal it. So essentially, it's still trying to drive everything towards SCOTUS. In other words, I've always made the argument that when these, for example, the cases are against Donald Trump, the civil cases, the case here in Georgia, and the election interference and so forth, all these cases really have a direction they're going in that isn't going to be successful, okay? Because the point is it's not about the rule of law or justice. It's about putting as much negativity onto Donald Trump as possible. So when you see these types of reports or these types of articles or these types of headlines, it is because it is a continuing campaign of hate towards Donald Trump. And that's why here on the BuzWeaver channel, we take the difficult, we take the confusion, we take the tumult, and we break it down so everyone can really understand what's actually happening. So although this makes a great headline grabber for the left, for the Democrats, for the establishment, the reality is, yeah, of course, if someone is going to commit a particular crime, they're not going to be above the law. But it is directing everything towards SCOTUS. And that is, as I was trying to lead up to, is just the face-saving move that they can make. Because as you know here in Atlanta, Fani Willis is facing her own prosecution, her own accusations about her involvement. And I would argue that Michael Roman probably knew this was happening, just like the establishment did. But again, they don't care about the rule of law, and they're not concerned about justice. They're only concerned about making Donald Trump look as bad as possible. They wrote that the purpose for this criminal case, former President Trump, has become Citizen Trump, with all the defenses of any other criminal defendant. So at least they're acknowledging the fact that he has due process, which we have often talked about, because now that the Democrats have weaponized our institutions, they come across as though people do not have due process, or President Trump does not have due process. The ruling comes a month after lawyers for Trump made sweeping claims that he enjoyed immunity from federal prosecution. So basically, it's just a bunch of these federal leftist Democrat judges that want to flex a bit. Claims that lawyers for the special counsel said, would undermine democracy and give president license to commit crimes while in the White House, such as accepting bribes for directing government contracts or selling nuclear secrets to a foreign adversary. So see, here's what they're doing. So they know if this ever goes to the point where SCOTUS has to jump in and say that Donald Trump has levels of immunity, it will have to be very specific to the Article 3 of the 14th Amendment under insurrection. So you see what they're doing here is they're building everyone up to this notion, to this idea that should SCOTUS make a ruling of immunity for Donald Trump, particularly in insurrection, they want to turn it around as this big, general, very broad immunity for presidents. And as people like to often bring up, the situation with Obama when he killed an American citizen. Now, you guys might be wondering what this is all about. And this was an article from The Atlantic. how Team Obama justifies the killing of a 16-year-old American. So again, we go back to, if an American commits a crime, they're entitled to due process. They're there in court to be judged by the jury of their peers, so forth and so on. But Obama made this strike on him. So if you guys weren't familiar, I'm just going to give you kind of a brief outline of what this is. The second notable statement concerns the killing of 16-year-old American citizen Abdulrahim al-Awlaki. So Tom Junaid gives the backstory. He was the son of Anwar al-Awlaki, who was also born in America, who was also an American citizen, and who was killed by drone 2 weeks. And I don't know why I guess it's a British person speaking here. 2 weeks before his son was, along with another American citizen named Samir Khan. Of course, both Anwar al-Awlaki and Samir Khan were, at the very least, traitors to their country. Okay, well, call them traitors if you want to. But the idea is, if they're criminals, you go after them, you arrest them. They're entitled to due process. They're entitled for their day in court. They're entitled to a jury of their peers. You just don't inadvertently go killing somebody because, yeah, they went across the line, went over there and got involved with the terrorists, right? They had both gone to the Yemen and taken up with Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. And al-Awlaki had proven himself an expert insider. I love that, an expert insider. And thus with murderous designs against American and Americans. Okay, so we have that here in America. We have people that go after other Americans. We have people that commit crimes here in America. Yeah, you just don't go and kill them on the spot. You don't just go to their house and just enforce the law by just immediately killing them. Of course, there's all these other situations and circumstances. So the whole idea here behind this, of course, as I said, is just really more of a headline grabber to give the left a little bit of consolation, a little bit of pacification, because tonight Donald Trump is going to dominate in Nevada. He's going to dominate the whole thing, and probably the presidency. And of course, the left and the media right now are panicking because Tucker Carlson is in Russia about to interview Putin, and that's going to be a gigantic story because I probably predict that Putin will do a little bit of flexing himself and probably say that Joe Biden is weak, or in a roundabout way will suggest that, and it's going to drive the left absolutely crazy. Now, that's not me defending Putin for what he's doing in Ukraine, okay? I don't like what's going on over there at all, so I'm not here to defend Putin. I'm simply saying that he will say things that will drive the left and the media and, of course, the administration absolutely crazy. But Tucker Carlson is killing it with what he's doing. But I wanted to bring this to your guys' attention in case you guys saw this or heard some conversation about it. It's really just more of a headline grabber. There really isn't anything here. It's just more of a nothing-ish kind of burger. It's just the federal courts in D.C. at least trying to flex a little bit. But eventually it's probably going to have to go to SCOTUS, and I hope it does. SCOTUS is kind of reluctant to look into it because they're going to have to be very specific about, Article 3 of the 14th Amendment, as opposed to it being, as they try to say here, this broad immunity, like presidents have all this immunity to do whatever they want, because that's the way the Democrats think. They think that if Trump gets any kind of an angle, because the reason they think this is because they have already hijacked and weaponized our institutions, and they're terrified that Donald Trump will then have these institutions for himself. You see, they build all this power for themselves, and then when the administration changes to, a different party, then they start to panic, realizing what could be used against them. So it's absolutely amazing. But nonetheless, guys, that's what I had for you on this big major day. Will be a big major Trump story day today. I want to thank all you guys across social media, all of you guys there on New Tech. Thank you guys on Rumble and Odyssey. And, of course, everyone here on YouTube. That would be the channel icon appearing there on the screen. You guys can click on that to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys in the next video.